Coming to you from backlighting in Los Angeles. Welcome to today's Tech Talks. dot2 and you. So we're here to talk about dot2. Those are typical Tech Talks, and there's always surveys that come out afterward. And we did receive some feedback that people were hoping for some improved audio quality. So this particular webinar, we're trying a new microphone. You'll see that spot where you can ask us questions. If you are currently experiencing like audio troubles, shoot us a message, because if we get a bunch of messages from all of you, then we know it's on our end, and we could switch back. It takes about a minute to switch back to the audio mechanism we were using with our previous webinars. If we only receive feedback from one or two of you that you have audio troubles, then I'm pretty sure it's going to be on your end with your internet connection. So hopefully the audio is better this time around. So today, this Tech Talks is about the dot2. Oh, there it is. So this is my main screen, just so you can kind of see in the background. I have the product pages up, and just for the beginning, I'm keeping my webcam on, but eventually we'll turn that off, and we'll actually dive into the dot2 software itself. But I want to give you an overview of some what the product looks like. So this is the dot2 core. You'll notice the familiar button layout from the MA line of control products. Similar faders, buttons, reliable hardware, two touch screens that actually exist on the core. Every dot2 console you buy, whether it's the core or the XLF or the XLB, is going to output 8 universes. You actually get 4 DMX ports on the back of each console, and if you want those additional 8 universes, you could get a node 4, which would add 4 more ports via Ethernet. You can actually have up to 10 nodes connected if you just need a lot of DMX ports, but your total kind of channel count limit is going to be 8 full universes. There's also the XLB, which adds a whole bunch of buttons over here, real good for club installations or punch shows. Maybe you like to travel with your console and punt the lighting. You need a lot of buttons to flash those lights to the music. Also, if you actually were working with the core, which you see here, but you realize you have some shows where you need a button wing, or you want a fader wing, or maybe the DJ booth needs a button panel, but you don't want to give the DJ the full access to the console, this is where you can use the wings. So the wings connect via Ethernet, that's the button wing, and then the F wing, and those also get touchscreens, so you have a little bit of local feedback on what's going on in the system, and the ability to see your cue lists and stuff. Some people asked about the pricing. So if you're based in North America, you can navigate to our products tab. You'll see MA lighting, and you can jump to the pricing sheet for the US. And pricing can kind of fluctuate a little bit, so it's always good just to keep this price sheet bookmarked so you can see when the prices change. The objective of dot2 is it's a clever approach to lighting control without all the options. So it kind of gives you a streamlined way to do lighting. You can still do complex lighting control from moving lights, RGB LEDs, dimmers, etc., but it's not packed full of all these options that can kind of get it in the way of actually doing the lights on the stage. And that might be applicable to anybody that's new to lighting control, or anybody that maybe doesn't do lighting every day. They don't want to have to remember 10,000 different options, they just want to do lighting. I have a bunch of websites here that I have open that I think are really important for you to remember. actlighting.com is a good starting place. The support tab will actually take you to our support dashboard, where you can navigate to our knowledge base, and quick link to the dot2 software, so you see a lot of our knowledge base articles related to dot2. The other great starting place for resources related to dot2, because using dot2 is simple, it's easy, and you just need a few resources online to wrap your head around it. So a great website also is ma-dot2.com. This is going to give you all kinds of information about the dot2, access to the software downloads. You're going to read about how the operation of the software is easy, how it's clever, how it's the suitability, what kind of markets. So it does apply to any market. If you have lights you need to control, and you don't need a super powerful 10,000 options type of lighting controller, I really look at the dot2 because it's got all the reliability that people learn to love from MA in a more compact package. TV, theater, rock and roll, touring, corporate shows, schools in particular, anybody that wants to jump into lighting control, especially as the lights have more options. You know, the fixtures have more options in them with all these color channels and pan and tilt and gobos and beam shaping effects, etc. You want something that makes it very simple to gain access to those kind of functions and easy to program so that you can focus on the look on the stage, not spending all the time focusing on data management. If you're based, you know, outside of North America, or you're in North America, or maybe English is not necessarily your native language, this is actually a multilingual platform. So you'll notice a lot of the lighting industry tends to be English-based. There's a whole bunch of languages built in. I want to say it's like up to 20 now. The whole help manual is translated in all those different languages. We're going to take a look at the help manual in a bit. The design, as I mentioned before, is it's complex, and many of you have probably heard of, you know, Grand MA 1, Grand MA 2. Well, there is a DNA behind those platforms, and dot2 is a similar DNA. We just didn't put so many options in the console because during the design of the dot2, there's a lot of options that have made it into, you know, the bigger platforms like the Grand MA 2 that just really didn't make any sense for the target user and the target shows of dot2, you know, something under 8 universes. Once again, on this website, you get the full kind of range of everything. Once again, that I already did cover. And I also point out the free software, the dot2 on PC, which runs on Windows, and the free visualizer, which is called dot2 3D. So we're going to jump into those two later, since this is a webinar with screen sharing. And some people like to review the various combinations, you know, just the core with some wings, maybe the XLF with some wings, various configurations of how it all interconnects. And I did mention those platforms, these different products connect via Ethernet. If you don't know anything about Ethernet, don't worry about it. We've used a different IP technology, so you don't even have to worry about IP addresses. It's all just plug and play. You have to get yourself one network switch. We can certainly help you pick out a network switch, plug them all together, they're going to easily connect. And then from a learning standpoint, I think, Kat, we had some questions about how easy it is to learn, or how quick it is to learn
and then teach your operator.
So the learning curve is very, what do you call it, very quick? Is that the right term?
I would say it's quick, yeah.
Because it has a flow to it that's just intuitive. It guides you through the process, and anybody new to dot2, you just have to watch these 4 videos and you're going to totally get how to start programming lights. It's 4 videos, you pretty much get everything you need to know, and you can start expanding your knowledge there. But these 4 videos are going to get lights on the stage, you're going to be able to control those lights, and you're going to be able to store cues, you're going to be able to create effects, all with these 4 videos, which are about 30 minutes to 1 hour each. And if you're doing these videos at home, remember the free dot2 on PC software. You're going to get this link to the online manual, which is going to take you directly to help2.malighting.com. The user manual, like I said, there's all these languages. It looks like I was saying there was 10 to 20. I think there's actually more languages in the console than are available online yet, but you can see a lot of the languages of the world are already here, already translated. I do know the Japanese distributor, they have a Japanese translation, which is pretty cool. dot2 forum is a great place to learn from the community. Everybody learns differently, but one of the best places to learn is in online forums. Just pose your questions and you're going to get a lot of answers. And forums are also a great place to actually start, because you go in and see what are the questions people are asking and what are the solutions that they're finding with the dot2. You know, if you're based in North America, you can always email support@aclighting.com or give us a call when you have dot2 questions. I thankfully can say that I really haven't been completely stumped by somebody wanting to do something a particular way. I haven't really had to say no. Obviously, if somebody wants more than 8 universes, I'd say, well, dot2 can't do that, or you have to use 2 dot2s. But in terms of functionality, it's like people wanted to pre-mark the cues. Well, we have the black. People wanted to do flashes. They wanted to, you know, temporary fades. They wanted like submasters. They wanted to do circular effects, value effects, etc. They want to be able to do a range of colors, align colors. Somebody asked about cloning. Yeah, cloning is built into dot2. That's for when you're touring. You need to be able to copy your programming to new fixtures that get added based on whatever venue you're walking into. So we really didn't hold anything back. You just don't necessarily need all of these nitty-gritty options that you might find in some of the bigger consoles, because those options are very, very unique, and there tends to be a way to do it on dot2. Anything you might need, it just may take a little longer to get there as part of, you know, a one-off, hey, I need this really special kind of unique setup, and that's what we're here for, to help you. And if you're around the world, you know, you can see where to buy. So these are the kind of the important websites. There's also a blog that's worth visiting if you just want to get updates about who's using dot2, what shows they're using it on, and this is actually a worldwide blog, and lots of tips and tricks as well that come from the MA team. Also, Lighting, we have our YouTube channel. This is where we post our tech talks. We also have a dot2 tutorials playlist. So if you're looking for anything that we've created, check out the tutorial playlist for the dot2 videos. Okay, you think does that give you somewhat of a background?
Yeah, but I think you should get into the software.
Yeah.
I think that's really what's gonna.
So now we're gonna check out the software. I'm gonna make some room on your screen by turning off my webcam, and we're gonna jump to the dot2 software, which you can see here. So this is the on PC software, and let's start a new show, and we'll name it webinar software. Now, in terms of how the dot2, what the dot2 software looks like.
Hold on 1 second. We're frozen.
No. Yeah.
No, it's frozen.
Uh-oh.
Before you even made the new show.
I don't know. So turn the screen sharing back on. All right, it doesn't look like it's frozen anymore. Sorry about that. So this is what the dot2 software is going to look like. You can navigate to actlightning.com or the ma-dot2.com to actually download this software. You'll install it on your Windows. It's a great way to learn how it works. And you get the programming section, you get the faders. This would be the first screen. Then to the left of this would be the second screen. And then we actually emulate as well all the other screens that might exist. So if you were on a XLF, this would be this third screen to the left. If you added a fader wing, this would be the little screen that would be on that fader wing. If you're on an XLB, the B-Wing 1 would be that third screen on the left of the XLB, and then B-Wing 2 would be a second wing that you might attach. And then you also get to see what your view is on the external screen. So the back of your console is going to have 4 DMX ports. You're going to get time code input. You're going to get audio input. You're going to have a DVI output for an external monitor, which can be a touch monitor, a touch screen. You get little kind of contact closures for foot switches or button panels or fire alarm systems for those club installs that have a tendency to need that stuff. So a lot of useful I/O ports on the back. So once again, we're gonna take a look at the software, the simplicity of it. I'll probably jump into some of the settings that might exist. So I actually started a new show via the backup menu. I called it my webinar show. What I was saying earlier is how the software tends to guide you what you need to do. So you need to add some fixtures to your show before you can begin programming the console, obviously. So it tells you to hit setup, it tells you to hit patch and fixture schedule. So we go to setup and we go to patch and fixture schedule, and we want to add some new fixtures. So maybe I want to add 10 dimmers. Well, the type of fixture is already set to dimmer, it defaults to that. And I want the fixture ID to be 1, or I could change it to 11 or 101. But I'm just going to leave this as 1. The name, I would maybe change this to Licos, and it starts with the number 1 because it's going to auto-numerate, and this stands for universe.address. Maybe these are actually in universe 2, so I would change that to universe 2, and the starting address would be 1. You hit OK, and you get your 10 Licos here. If you ever needed to change these, maybe these last 3 are actually in universe 2, but address maybe 21. Yeah? No. Okay, there we go. So these changed 21 to 22 to 23. So very easy to change addresses. You'll also notice you could actually type in on the keyboard. Maybe this one is set to address 50. I think it's unlikely that you'd maybe have this arrangement if you only had 10 Licos, and if you needed to get that back, we would just type it in 2.1, and it would re-enumerate all of these. When you're happy, you click done, and you apply the changes. So very easy to patch, takes you straight to your fixture sheet where you could select some fixtures and bring them to full. You can select these, put them at 50. I could click and drag to actually select the whole range and put them at 10 through 100. If these are hung on the back wall, maybe I want to do kind of a outer to center kind of pattern. So I'd say at 40 through 100 through 40. And I actually get 40 through 100 through 40. So a little bit of versatility there from the command line. I know a lot of times you want quick adjustments, so you double tap minus or plus to adjust things by 10%. If you're on a console, you're going to get the level wheel, which is emulated over here on the left side of, on the right side of the software. So that's kind of the basics there in terms of patching. I'm going to now show you connecting the visualizer, because then I want to see what these fixtures are that I'm actually patching. Does that sound good, Kat?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Lots of questions about how to connect 3D, so.
Feel free. Kat might, by the way, Kat might interject if I get sidetracked or go in the wrong direction. So don't be surprised.
And feel free to ask questions throughout. There's not just a Q&A time, but if you catch something that he's talking about and you have a question, there is a place in which you can send us questions.
So just to remind you, the software I'm working with, dot2 on PC.exe is what we just looked at. Now I'm going to open up dot2 3D, which is an exe file as well, so dot2 3D. The versions do have to match, so actually if I bring this back up, you'll see this software is 1.3.2.2. So the dot2 on PC, the console software, and the 3D software all have to be the same version number in order for them to connect to each other. So I've already installed dot2 3D, and we're going to do a both screens kind of view here. You should be able to see my on-PC software on the left and my 3D software on the right. So you see on the top left, this is dot2 3D. Now, if you were connecting these across a real Ethernet port on your computer to another computer, you would have to assign that port in network interfaces, local area connection, depending on how many Ethernet ports you have on your computer. Or if you're running them on the same computer like I am, you have to use the loopback interface. So we choose loopback. In 3D, you go to File and you go to Settings, and you go to Network. You have to do the same thing. So if you want 3D to talk to an external Ethernet port, you have to choose it from this list. If we want to talk internally to the dot2 software, we have to choose loopback, which is already selected here. By the way, if you change Ethernet interfaces on either software, you have to close it and reopen it. Okay. Now we have to start what is called a session, and I apologize, I am already in session. So I just left session. So sessions are once again in setup, and you go to sessions. And under on PC, you can see this is my on PC. I can't remove that because it's mine. Now this, I'm removing that 3D software because I'm pretending to start from scratch, right? So first off, we want to start a new session. You can pick any of these numbers. So we'll start with the number 1. You can actually see the 3D software sees the session, but in order to add it, you have to go to the 3D tab, click Add, and choose the detected 3D software. You can get a little note. It takes a second to join, and now I know my dot2 3D is in session because on the top left of dot2 3D, I see a green beating heart. And I think that answers all the questions of how you put 3D and dot2 in session. Okay, so you might notice these 10 dimmers here that I have. I can see them selected in my stage view of 3D. Why don't we patch some moving lights?
Ooh, good. While you're in the patch, we have a question.
Yeah?
Is there a way to display multiple conventional fixtures controlled by the same dimmer in dot2 and 3D? Is there a way to multi-patch?
Yeah, so you want one ID, like channel 1, to actually control 3 different dimmers in your space. That's referred to as multi-patch. And you would do this, you'd select this, and there's a create multi-patch button. So we'd create multi-patch. How many additional fixtures do you have? Maybe there's 2 more by the same channel, which gives me 2 more fields. They're all fixture ID 1, and maybe this is 2.20 and 2.40. So now channel 1, fixture ID 1, is going to simultaneously control address 1, 20, and 40 in universe 2. And keep in mind, this could be a different universe, so I could do it 3.5, so it can go across universes.
Are we going to see it in 3D, Will?
Yes.
All right.
I don't know if you know.
That's the answer to the question, yes.
Okay. I believe we do. I, for some reason, don't remember right now. since you just asked about that, why don't we just work off these 10 fixtures? And they're all selected, so I could do the green arrow, and then I can click the red arrow, scroll the wheel on my mouse, the scroll wheel on my mouse while I'm holding the button. I'm going to align these to center and drag my mouse, and that's going to spread them out. Back in the 3D software, I'm actually going to clear out, I'll select these again, I'm going to highlight, which is going to highlight what's selected. So you can see I drug these backwards. It's not good. So we come back over to the 3D software, and I'm going to position these all at 0 and try that align again. Now I got them lined up. Now you asked about those multi-patches. Well, over here you can see there's this assets window, and it's showing me what I have selected. Well, those duplicate addresses, you can see they show up here, and they're down here. So that's the first one, and if I go to rotation mode, I'll rotate it that way. And this is the second one, and rotate that way. Now this is a bit of a long process, the way that I'm doing this. I would prefer to reference my, my plot and maybe type in the actual position and rotation information here in the 3D objects list. So now, if I grab channel 1 and highlight is still on, I can see that all 3 of these actually come up. So to answer that question specifically, multi-patch is supported, and you can actually position those fixtures independently within the 3D software. I've seen installations where they use a combination of a Leco fixture and a Fresnel. These models, you could actually change these models to be a Fresnel instead of a Leco fixture as well. So if you're trying to get real accurate, you can swap models out. So next, what I was going to do, I'm going to actually get rid of these multi-patches by deleting selected, and then you apply those changes, and now these 2 are gone from my 3D software. We could go back into setup, patch fixture schedule. Why don't we add some moving lights? What's your favorite moving light, Kat?
I don't think I have a favorite. Don't I have to say play packy? Come on.
Sure. So, good rule of thumb, anytime you're patching something, always click these 3 buttons to see if you've already added it to your show. So, we already have dimmer, RGB, RGBAW, and RGBW types in our show, but I don't have a moving light yet, so I actually have to select other. So you're only going to use the select other button if the fixture you want doesn't already exist in your list. If you're patching more dimmers, reference it from this list. If you're patching more RGB LEDs, patch it from this list. So for the moving light, I'm going to select other, and this little database has to just kind of, I don't know what it's doing. It's indexing.
Buffering? Is that still a thing?
You can sort by manufacturer. I could pick like abstract, and we can do that. You can use the encoders, by the way. So I don't have the real encoders on console, but you can mimic the encoders by clicking in and moving your mouse up and down. So click and hold on top of these, and you click them down. If you have a USB stick, if you ever get a fixture profile from the internet, the first encoder is how you change that reference. Now, scrolling through this list as if maybe if you don't really know what the name of the fixture is, if you do happen to know the name of the fixture, for example, QWO 800, I can just search QWO, finds what I want, and then I get the 4 different channel modes. So I want the 32 channel footprint. So I'm going to choose that one. I'm going to hit OK. Let's say I have 4 of these, and I want these to start at fixture ID 101. These are actually in universe 1, starting at address 1. And something went wrong there. Let's try that again. Standard lamp on. Okay, there we go. ASQ800 SL. If you don't like this name, maybe you can just call it the QWO. If I can type QWO. Okay, we have 4 of them. IDs 101. They're starting at address 1. And here's a really cool fixture schedule summary over here. So I happen to know that address 2.1 through 2.10 is already used. And it's a great way to see what addresses are available. And it tells me, hey, all of Universe 1 is free. Universe 2, channels 11 through 12 are free. But this is being used. Is it okay? Uh-oh. That did not work. It's always embarrassing.
What'd you do?
I'm probably not running this software as administrator, and Windows is getting mad at me. Okay. So you see the add down here at the bottom, Universe 1. We are done. Apply changes. I just mentioned something. I'm not running this program as administrator in Windows. I would suggest you do that. So I'm going to save. I'm going to cancel. I'm going to go to backup. I'm going to save the show file, and I'm going to exit. And what I mean by administrator, we'll go to MA Lighting, dot2 on PC. Right click on this and go to Properties, and go to Compatibility. Not that one. Sorry. Run this as administrator. This is a good idea. It just gives the program full access to the Windows environment, Windows security, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it doesn't like software to get full access. Those are on the help pages of our knowledge base if you've ever taken a look. So we need to jump in here, make sure the session is running. Good, 3D is in session. And now we will select these 4 QWOs and place these as well. Now, in terms of moving around in this stage view, this is where you can right click with your mouse and use your scroll wheel to change what you're doing. This is move mode. I'm going to orbit and move up, and then I'm going to pan a little bit. So we'll select our 4 QWOs, move these back, and then and I actually want to move. I want to select my dimmers. And by the way, all this work that I'm doing in 3D is just kind of for fun for you to play at home. If you don't need 3D, if you're working with the real stage, you don't have to do any of this fixture setup. You just have to do the patching and get the addressing right. So now we go to full. Order, we'll go to position, and we can tilt these using these faders, or if you have a console with the encoder wheels, you'd spin the encoder wheels to do the alignment. And then if I do align to center and I move my pan, it's kind of a fan effect, but it's aligning them. And then I could go to color, and we want it to be red or blue, or once again, if we use the align function, I'm going to use align to outer. And now my outer is blue and my inner is green. If you jump over to gobos, you can actually see pictures of the gobos. You'll notice you can't see the beams too well. This is where in 3D you want to check your render settings. I'm going to actually turn down the background intensity a little bit, and I'm going to turn up the beam intensity and the spot intensity so I can actually see that a little better in 3D. So, the coloring you're choosing as well can play into how well you see these beams. And there's also under focus, you're going to get that zoom function Obviously, we can't really render focus in a virtual world because it doesn't really make any sense. So you'd have to do the focusing in real life. You're going to get strobe functions. So if you want those to strobe at a particular hertz, you can also randomize it. A lot of quick tools here in terms of making things easy. If you if you didn't mean to add strobe, you just say off strobe. Oops, we would say off beam. Sorry, we use these buttons over here. So now it kicks everything out of your programmer. It's like off focus. So red means that it's actually being controlled by your programmer. We go back to open. You can use rotating gobos, for example. We do rotate right with a particular RPM. Then I might go back to my fixture sheet, and I'd select these two, go back to gobo, and rotate the other way, which is going to reverse it to minus 50 RPM. So really quick tools to kind of get looks going that you might be going for. Always good to save your show periodically. Should we add some LEDs?
Sure.
To play with? So remember we jumped to these 3 dots. We can see there's LEDs. Maybe we'd add 10 of those. And those are going to be channel 51. And those are going to be on universe 3. Okay. And we see the 10 LEDs are there. My fixture sheet is automatically organized. We'll bring these to full. We can see them here, and we do another alignment thing, and then we have to rotate them so we can see the face. So by default, LEDs do not cast a beam. Of course, this is it's based on the fixture profile that you've chosen. So I've particularly chosen a fixture profile that has no beam. But jump into color here, and then, like I said, we can align to outer, and now you get that kind of rainbow effect. Orange is the outer colors, and then it works its way to colors in the center. Jump back here to our dimmers, and we'll bring those up a little bit. So that's the whole kind of patching component. If you wanted to set up your own arrangement of fixtures, you have 5 different custom views that you can set up. They're just called like custom fixture sheet layout views. So maybe these 5 dimmers are supposed to be in that first view. You store them here, and if you're in edit mode, you can drag these around, and maybe also the 10 LEDs go in there. So we'd store those in their merge and zoom to fit. And you can do something like that. So you can get a real custom arrangement of fixtures based on maybe how they're actually laid out on your stage, so that your little layout view makes it easier to kind of select and see what's going on. Whereas this view is just ordered by fixture ID. So you select what you want, you store it to here, and you would merge that. And you get 5 of these. So maybe just the moving lights go in here. So I can see everything based on how it's actually on my stage, and I can see just what the moving lights are doing. By the way, you probably noticed you can see the actual Gober pattern in that fixture sheet, plus the color rendition and even the intensity level, plus pan tilt position that you see. If you just need to see values, you can jump to the spreadsheet view, and you can toggle between just numbers or actual information. That's sort of the basics of patching fixture control, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have different things to control. You have your yokes, your conventionals, you got your fixture sheet. It's like everything is viewable. It's in view.
Yeah. So.
And I just want to mention how fast that was. You've really only been talking, in the software for a good like 10, 12 minutes or something here. So.
Yeah.
It was just so fast for you to grab some LEDs, some conventionals, some movers, get them in the patch, arrange them, and you're already playing with them.
Yep.
So
then I would want to create some quick presets. Obviously, I'm going to base it off my my layout view. I need these and the LEDs. So I want to make some color presets. So I want to do something like red. And this view, these are the view buttons. These are predefined. They're always there. So that's your fixture sheet, groups pool. Maybe I actually should start with some groups. So with the groups pool, I'd select, these would be all my dimmers. All dimmers. And you get a chance to label them. This would be all LEDs. And then my spots. And then if you need any other kind of like random group arrangements, the outer two for the LEDs, or some people do like stage right dimmers, and then they also want a stage left dimmer group. So very quick to set that up, and then you want to make some presets, and I want to do some color presets. So I'm going to do all the LEDs and the moving spots, so I can make presets that just have the colors I want. So I'll do red. Notice, very handy tool. It's actually auto naming these for you based on the colors that you've chosen. So very quick way to get some presets set up. And then I might need to do some rainbow kind of stuff, what we did earlier. So I'd start with green, align to outer, green to blue. And if you wanted to see what that looks like before you store the preset, you just turn it on so you can look in 3D. So maybe this is, green to blue LED. Then I might need to create a red to yellow. So we'd have red to yellow LED. And then maybe you're going to do the same thing with your spots. So we grab those spot fixtures, bring those to full. Actually, we'll clear it out just to start from scratch, bring those to full. And we want to do, same idea. Oops, accidentally did it align to center. So that would be blue to magenta spots. So this is how quickly you can make some presets. That's for the colors. Now I might want to make some position presets for my moving lights. This is where you can sit there with your pan and tilt encoders, but this is where 3D can actually be helpful, because we have this thing called follow target mode. And it's this yellow ball, and the lights are going to go where I click. So this would be my position preset, downstage right, and then I'm going to click over here for downstage left, and this is going to be the center, and this will be center. And if I put those in the wrong place, I could just say move this here and move this here. And I didn't mention in 3D there's this media database, and you can actually add some people to your show. So let's see, relaxing people. We'll do musicians actually. The singing girl, we'll put her in there, and I'm going to orbit a little bit. I'm actually going to put her in the light. And that was actually not the model I wanted to put in there. You can put a guitar over here, for example, and if these lights are still selected, I can go to downstage right, and you can see I sort of have the lights correctly focused there. So if you want some stuff to focus on, you can add some objects in the show as well. So I made some position presets. If you need some gobo presets, you can select the gobo. Notice in the presets pool, you get the pictures. And always good to clear out. Make sure you're only storing what you want, and we rotate that at some RPM. And I remember last time we split these in half. So I'm going to select these two and spin the other way, and actually make this spinning gobo preset. So that's getting some presets going. So now you want to store some cues, right? So take our dimmers, we want to put that at 50, maybe now I want to do at 40 through 80 through, oops, is your backspace, through 40, and I want to grab, I could go to my groups pool, grab my outer two LEDs, go to color, make those green, bring those to full, then I would go to my moving spots, bring those to full. I'm actually going to go to the fixture sheet. I'm going to select these two, and under position presets, and I know I'm moving kind of fast, but we're recording this. I hope the recording goes well. You'll be able to watch this later. I'm moving fast in an effort to show you that this software is actually very quick, and it can do a lot. So maybe these two actually are supposed to be, a dark blue, and the other two are supposed to be kind of a red or magenta. And I didn't put any front light in my shows, so their faces are completely dark, but it's artistic.
So just to hold you up a little bit here, we do have you're at the 10-minute mark, and we do have a lot of questions about effects.
Yeah.
And I see you haven't gotten a cue down yet.
Yeah, so, I was just about to store a cue, and then I was going to show you an effect. All right. So I think we're on track. We should be on track.
All right.
So this is the look that I've created, and I can just store this to an executor. Or that's by storing and tapping an executor, or I can undo that, and I can do MA store, which is store look, which means it captures exactly what I see on stage. So this is what makes dot2 simple. If you always use store look, it's going to capture what you see on stage. You're always protected, and anytime you call back that cue, it's going to bring it back. So this might be my first look. So if I just hit please, it stores the first cue in the main cue list. So store please is always going to the main cue list. Store tapping an executor is going to go somewhere else. In terms of like a bump button, I might want to have a button that flashes my LEDs. So we'll call this LED flash. And if I click on that, I want to change it to a flash button. And all this stuff I'm doing is documented really well in the manual. So now as I click, it flashes my LEDs. If I hit go, it brings back my look, and now I can flash my center LEDs because this is my flash button. Then the question is related to effects. We'll turn this off, and I'll start with the dimmers. So effects are very simple. Go to dimmer, click effect, and you want dimmer soft. You want dimmer hard, which is a snap. You can do a ramp, which has a fade out, ramp down. So we'll do, let's say, dimmer hard, but I really want to align to center. I think I stoned myself already. I have to align. There's a direction button. There's the shuffle selection, which randomizes the effect. And then I already forgot align to center, Cat.
What was that?
Align to center. the effect. Then you do center out.
Isn't it in the actual calculator now?
I forgot what I'm supposed to. Oh, yeah, sorry, it's the phasing.
Yep.
Wings of 2. There we go. And then you can change the direction. Sorry, it's the phasing calculator, not align to center here. I apologize. Align to center is for modifying values. You could align your high values. The phasing is where you dictate your wings. So I can actually do wings of 4, which is cool because then it splits it up into groups of 4 and then they mirror each other. Is what wings of 4 will do for you. So this is just the effects. You could go back to dimmer soft and also do wings of 2, change the direction. Those are basically your dimmer effects. In terms of moving light effects, I would start with, downstage center, go to the effect button, and I want a circle. I want wings of 2, so should be symmetrical. And then the sizing is actually this first encoder, so you want it to be really big and really small. Just a pan sign is not going to be so interesting, but a tilt sign can be interesting. And same thing here, we can do wings of 2, which would mirror them with each other. You get dimmer ballyhoo, so if you have a lot of lights, you can do ballyhoo. Speed is set by this. If you really kind of want to really make it sort of organic, modify your phasing calculator, or even make the phase bigger, minus 720 through 720. I suppose people are expecting some magical elixir to affect. There is no magical elixir. I don't care what console you're on. The only way you're going to learn how to do effects on any console is by sitting down and doing it over and over and figuring out how to accomplish those. That's what we're here for. We're happy to help. If you have some questions about how to do certain effects and you're based in North America, you can contact us at Support Lighting. If you're outside of North America, contact your distributor. Ask them, how do I achieve this effect? How do I achieve that effect?
I think the question here is just how do I make my own outside of the ones that are already pre-built? So
you have to store these as presets. That's a good point. So if you have something that you've set up, so a way to make effects very kind of customizable is working with them one at a time, one fixture at a time. So I would, you have all of these selected and you do a circle. Now, if you want to customize each one as you step through it, you can spin your encoders to adjust just the effect for that one, and this fixture gets to be bigger, and that one gets to be that, and this one's going to be faster. What you have to do is adjust phasing, adjust switch, adjust speeds. You can hold MA also and gain access to blocks and groups. Sure fun, I'll show you that in a second. But to save this, you're storing it as a position preset, and you get this little pink marker to indicate that effect information is in there. Now what that has done is that has saved where they're pointing and the individual effect information for each one. So that's true for effects of each kind of preset type. And blocks, groups, and wings. Blocks and groups. Blocks and groups are handy because you might have an effect like this we saw earlier. I should turn these off. So you have these dimmers running. If with MA you get access to groups, which puts them in groups of 2 or groups of 4, and the other one is blocks, is it puts them next to each other. So groups of 3 don't make any sense when there's only 10 fixtures, but here it's 2 at a time. And you can jump back to wings of 2 if you wanted to kind of do a mirror effect with that. So it's just sitting down playing.
I think you're just showing how much fun the software is. I do have another really important question, though, before we go any further, which is in your fixture library, what happens if I can't find a fixture in there?
You go to the new fixture share. Fixture. Oh, I didn't memorize the website.
I just go to MA Share.
We have fixtureshare.malighting.com. So this is where you can jump in and see the entire library, plus anything that we've built and posted, plus anything that MA has built and posted, all the manufacturers. It's got the same kind of search methods, so QWO 800. I'm going to find a list of QWO 800s, and initial means that it was it should already be in your library, depending on version. If it was part of an update or created by somebody else. So this one was actually created by somebody called Silly, I think is how you pronounce that. So, and if you need help with that, like I said, if you're based, just contact your local distributor for help. Options at this point, it's like I know how to store cues, I know how to change colors, I know how to build effects. You can do a show. You might not be an expert yet, you know, you're not going to learn overnight, but now you know how to practice at home. The next big steps is jumping into setup, going through all these options. What does all this stuff do? Going into your executor options. You know, what's a chaser? What's priority? What's Q0? What's restart? This is all.
And how do you find that information, Will? In the software?
Help.
All right.
There it is. Never find the buttons. So I don't know if you guys just caught. Did you guys see what I did?
I think you should do it again, Will.
You're in here. You tap help and you tap the title bar, and it takes you to the page that describes all this stuff, which is very handy. So this fixture sheet, help, and the title bar jumps you to the fixture view. Explains everything. This is all here. All the learning is available. Then there's the view the queue list. You have to look at your queue list settings. What does MIB do? What are the various button functions that are available? Go back, pause, learn, etc. Lots of versatility here, lots of capability, but in a simpler package, because what you care about is doing the show. It's reliable. All your small shows, all your little festivals, all your little one-offs, they have a few LEDs, they have a few dimmers, they have some moving lights. You want to keep it easy. You don't want 1,000 phone calls because somebody's stuck on trying to figure out how to use whatever console you gave them. You want them to be able to figure it out on their own. No booby traps. It's just easy to use. And that's basically the gist of dot2 and the range.
I think you said it very, very succinctly, Will. I mean, that you're showing it right there. It's just within a matter of an hour, we've discussed it. We've discussed all of your resources, and we had a cool little stage thing going on.
Yeah.
So,
is there any kind of questions you think we missed that would be worth jumping?
I think you went over all the main stuff. I think everything else is in the details. If you want to know, there was a question about can we clone? Yes, we can. There's a question about can we do MIDI? Yes, we can. All of this is in the software. It's in the help manual. It is available.
Yeah, time code is in there.
And we'll do more webinars.
Yeah.
So you can always tune in.
Definitely. Like I said, there's the videos that are there too. And don't forget network protocols. 8 universes of ArtNet, 8 universes of SACN, and the most amazing part, we give you 1 universe for free with on PC. Right now, I can output from this on PC, this free software, I can output 1 universe of ArtNet or 1 universe of SACN totally free. So if you have some dimmers that can take in SACN or ArtNet, you can control one universe worth. If you have some fixtures that have an Ethernet port on the side, you could probably control them. And if you want, you can get a node. What are they, like maybe $100? You know, you get an ArtNet or SACN node, and you can control one universe for free with the dot2 software. This is a cool, biting software, very capable, very fun. And if you're new to the MA world, it's also a great starting point. I guess that's it.
That is it for this dot2 webinar.
All right. Happy programming.
Happy programming.